Welcome to our continued coverage of the TIA Network of the Future Conference. We're here with Steve Sifferman, President and CEO, Tarana Wireless. Welcome, Stephen.
Thank you very much for having me.
Let's talk about the critical challenges and opportunities to fully realize 5G. What do you see as the biggest obstacle to overcome in order to build a successful 5G national deployment?
I think there's two obstacles, and I think they go hand in hand. First is, what is the use case? What is the application we're trying to solve? And number two, what is the spectrum that we'll use to access this new technology? We see a lot of announcements coming out from the major carriers in the United States and abroad talking about use of the higher band spectrum. We're talking E-band spectrum and above to do, generally seems to be fixed wireless. So I think if there's clarity on what the application is, then we can then focus on what is the appropriate spectrum to use. My general belief is these higher band spectrums are being used because they're available and are high bandwidth, but they're not really addressing the real issue that needs to be solved. If we're going to provide high data rate to a handset or to a home, we generally need lower band spectrum that can penetrate walls, that can go longer distances, that can be reliable. And my personal view is these higher band spectrums are being used because they're available, but they're generally not tailored to this type of use case. Further, the technology advancements that are being used at these higher frequency bands are generally carrier stacking. So there's no significant new technology being brought to bear to increase spectral efficiency, to increase the overall network density. So the things that Tarana is focused on specifically are enabling lower band spectrum, sub 6 gigahertz spectrum, with very, very high availability and high spectral efficiency. Being able to deliver, gigabits of capacity either to a mobile user, to a home, to a business, at very high capacities and high reliabilities.
What new and unique business partnerships do you see being enabled by 5G?
I think 5G is going to bring a whole host of new applications. And we're starting to see it now with the Internet of Things and the 4G networks. I think the 5G networks will be enabling us to have greater density of use cases, I think lower latency, higher bandwidth applications. There's a whole host of new opportunities that are out there based on ability to reliably deliver high quality bandwidth. We're going to see it, of course, one of the big applications people talk about is the ability to do high quality, high definition video broadcasts. Again, getting that to your phone or getting that to a fixed location, I think is an enabler. I think it also enables better use of advertising in terms of streaming video, low latency applications as well.
What's your perspective on the progression of 5G networks over the next few years?
My general belief is over the next 2 to 3 years, we'll see a whole host of new demonstrations, new statements out of customers and carriers and equipment manufacturers. But I'm a believer that the real rollout won't happen until 3 to 4 to 5 years from now. And the reason being that there's a significant expenditure already in place for existing 3G and 4G networks. As I mentioned a couple times about spectrum, I think there is some work left to do on spectrum. In the United States, we've done some good work in the 3.5 to 3.7 band. I think there's some more opportunity there from the 3.7 and above. And again, as the existing infrastructure providers and carriers are working on their current networks, I think there's going to be a time lag between now and new deployments. It does enable new entrants into the marketplace. Of course, it is a capital intensive business. So if there's someone who has the ability to deploy billions of capital to deploy a 5G network, we might see it earlier. But again, I'm of a mind of 3 to 5 years will be the build out timeline. Now until 3 years from now will be a whole host of demonstrations and qualifications of technology.
Thanks so much for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.